Have you ever tried to get some advice? You lay out all the facts, all the details, and the response you get just completely misses the point? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of why that happens. And here's a spoiler, it's probably not because you're stubborn. It has everything to do with the very specific way your brain is wired to solve problems. I mean, picture this. You're trying to figure out some huge, complicated project. You're deep in it. You're mapping out all the steps, the potential roadblocks, and someone just leans over and says, "Hey, don't overthink it. Just trust me. It'll all be fine." For some of us, that's not just unhelpful, it's basically impossible to do. And then there's this classic. "Don't worry, it'll all work out." It's meant to be this comforting blanket, but if your mind is screaming for a blueprint, a plan, it just feels like an empty promise. It doesn't solve anything. It just dismisses your need to understand how it's going to get solved. And honestly, that can make you even more anxious. And that feeling of being dismissed, of having your very real attempt to solve a problem just waved away, well, that leads us right into a scenario that I think a lot of us know all too well. It's that frustrating conversation where it feels like you're speaking completely different languages. And really, this is what that disconnect looks like. On one side, there you are, presenting a logic puzzle. You see the blueprints, the flowchart, all the gears turning in your mind. But the person you're talking to, they see an emotional problem. So what do they offer? Comfort, a cloud of reassurance. And the result is, you're both trying to help, but nobody feels heard. So why does this communication breakdown happen so often? Well, a lot of the time, the common social explanation gets it completely wrong. It frames this whole thing as some kind of personal failing. Let's dig into what we can call the loyalty misconception. Right? People might assume you've got an ego problem, or that you just can't accept help, or worse, that you just don't trust them. And you might even start to wonder that about yourself. But what if it's none of those things? What if there's a much deeper, more fundamental reason for this disconnect? Something going on in your brain. This right here, this slide breaks down that mismatch so perfectly. On the left, you've got the social expectation. Society tells us, show trust, accept reassurance, demonstrate loyalty. But for a logic-first brain, the internal reality on the right is a whole different ballgame. It's about verifying the logic, seeking hard evidence, and testing for consistency. See, it's not a rejection of the person, it's a deep evaluation of the information. And that deep evaluation of information, well, that brings us to the real heart of this explainer, understanding the actual mechanics of what we're calling the logic-first brain. So this is the crucial shift in thinking we all need to make. This struggle is not a character flaw. It's not a social weakness. It's a core feature of how your brain processes the world. You could even say it's a superpower when it comes to analysis and problem solving. And there's actually a name for this process, internal reasoning. And as you can see, it's an automatic, totally non-negotiable step. Your brain gets a piece of information, and it immediately starts running it through this mental checklist. Does this make sense? Is it consistent with what I already know for a fact? What are the causal links here? It has to pass this test before it gets filed away as true. You can really think of it as a clear chain of events, just like this. First, you've got the input. That's the advice someone gives you. Then comes the process. Your brain starts evaluating it for logical consistency. After that, you check it against all the facts you know. And only after passing those tests do you finally get an output, a conclusion you can actually trust and act on. I absolutely love this way of thinking about it. Your brain is like a computer running a really complex program. You can't just tell the computer, "Hey, skip to the end and show me the result." No way. It has to execute every single line of code in order. Well, your brain works the same way. It has to process the why, the underlying logic, before it can truly accept the what. Okay, so if emotional reassurance isn't the answer, what is the real need here? This next section gets right to the heart of what a logic-first person is actually looking for when they ask for help. This is it. This is the key insight. When you're asking for help with a complex problem, you're not looking for a hug. You're looking for a blueprint. You need the clarity that comes from understanding the underlying structure of the solution. That's the real comfort. So what does that kind of clarity actually look like? Well, it's made of a few key ingredients. You're seeking logic, not just loyalty. You need hard evidence, not just empathy. You're chasing that cause and effect chain, not just a simple, "it'll be okay." And maybe most importantly, you need to understand the why behind any plan that's being proposed. Okay, so now that we get the why behind this way of thinking, how do we actually put this into action? This is all about learning to communicate our needs more effectively. It's basically like learning to speak a new, more precise language. And the goal here isn't to win an argument or to prove that your way of thinking is somehow better. Not at all. It's about bridging that communication gap so that you can finally feel truly understood, and so the people who care about you can give you the kind of support that you actually need. This right here, this is a powerful script you can actually use. It completely reframes your request. It's not a rejection of the other person's care. It's a clarification of what care actually looks like to you. It invites them into your thought process. It asks them to help you build the logical structure you need to feel secure. So I'll leave you with this final thought for yourself and for the logic-driven people in your life. What if you just flipped the script? The next time someone comes to you with a big, complicated problem, what if you held back that immediate "it'll be okay," and instead, you offered them a transparent look at your own reasoning? You might just find you're providing the one thing they truly needed all along: clarity.